Hi, and welcome to another It's a Crafty Christmas. This is the last one in the series. I know I said the last one was, but this is actually the last in the series. And this one's a specialty card, and it was requested by my Miss 14, who wants to give it to her friend. So we're not going to see her friend until the new year. So I thought, well, I've got plenty of time to make it. So this is actually, you've heard me talk about BTS before. This is actually one of the characters that one of the members of BTS designed. It's a BT21 character. I will actually have that as tagged below in my description box. So no doubt anybody looking for BT21 will eventually come across this video. So hi there, fellow army. I'm actually, as I said, making this for my daughter's friend. I do make a lot of character cards, so if you would like to see more character cards, just let me know. I've got SpongeBob ones, I've got monsters. Everybody and their dog has made Minion cards. I've got Simpsons in the works. I even went one different with the Minions and made Minion Tic Tac covers for the larger boxes of Tic Tacs that we get in Aldi over here. Anyway, this is based on the Chimmy cushion. Here we go. That's Chimmy. And he is who we are making today. So wish me luck. I've only done one of these so far and I didn't like the look of it, so I'm starting again. Okay, this is what I'm using as a circle. I did use the largest of the circles from the Circles Framelits, but it wasn't big enough for his face. His face needs to be bigger because his features, the eyes, the nose and the mouth, are a lot smaller, so I needed a bigger circle. So I traced around the outside of my tape and then cut it out. So you can see the red line there, and I cut it out. So that can actually go, if I can find my snail, that can go straight onto the card base. Whoops. And remember, if you're doing this, whenever you cut out a circle that you've actually drawn yourself, make sure you put the drawn side down. Okay, now I've made that as close to the bottom as I possibly can. It's right on the fold at the top. Now the outsides, I have to make ears. And I will show you how I did that. Bear with me. I'll just get some of my basic black out. Okay, all I did, just cut some of my cardstock. I have to keep going and poking my tablet because it keeps closing on me and I lose the picture of Chimmy from my view. Okay, pen. All I did for the ears was started out small at the top, gave a bit of a curl, and then cut out the side. Actually, that one, flip it over and start again, Karen. Okay, so we'll start at the top and we come down, make the bottom as large as possible, and like that. And then come in with the paper snips, and I'm just going to cut around the edge of what I've just drawn, but keeping the paper folded so that I'm getting two identical ears. They are mirror images of each other, which is what I need for this. So there we go. There's Chimmy's ears. Now, I'm not really familiar with the BT21 characters, only because I'm an adult, maybe? I don't know. Maybe that's it. But even though I like BTS, and Jimin is my favourite BTS member, I'm not as familiar with the BT21 characters, even though he designed this one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is stick his ears down. That sounds really painful. If you can hear sniggering in the background, Miss 14 is in the room with me watching me put this together. And she's having a snigger. Whether she's sniggering at me or she's actually watching something on her phone is yet to be determined. And she's now showing me her hands off screen to say, I haven't got my phone with me, Mum. Okay, I'm just going to trim the edges of his ears off. Now, how painful does that sound?
No.
Poor Chimmy. Oh, and the picture's gone again. There we go, we've got him back. Okay, so I'm going to trim both sides off so that they are even with the edge of the card. There we go. So that's his ears done. I'm really hoping this turns out better than the first time I did it, because I was really disappointed. It looked like, you know, one of those fails that you see on Pinterest, and you think, oh, I'd like to make that, and then you go home and make it yourself, and it turns out like a dog's breakfast. That's what my first Chimmy looked like. Poor Chimmy. Oh, I'm sorry. I've got a fit of the giggles again, and I swear to you, I'm not on any medication. It's just me having a fit of the giggles. Well, I am on medication, but my diabetes medication doesn't have this effect on me. Okay, so we're going to pop... Whoops, I've popped that bit down a bit too far, so I'm just putting that under the fold, the score there, and then what did I do with it? Ah, there it is. I had a strip of white that I used for the other card, and I still thought, well, I can do that again. I can do it and use that. So what I did was used a small circle shape and just made a heap of circles that connected, and this is to put the layer on for the fluffy bit of his hat. Now, before, I actually stuck it flat to the card, and I didn't like the look of it. So this time I'm going to add 5 dimensionals to the I'm an idiot, I pressed too hard on the screen. Okay, so I've got 5 dimensionals, which will give that a bit of a lift, but before I do that, I've got to put Chimmy's face on. I know, that sounds even worse. Okay, so what I did was use the old word window punch and trimmed out a piece of black cardstock as a straight line. Now that is too thick for his face, so I'm going to trim that by probably 2 millimeters, or say an 1/16 of an inch. No, maybe it's an 1/8 of an inch. It's got to be skinnier than his eyes. Okay, so we'll poke that out. That's a bit better. There we go. So that will be his mouth, and it's just slightly tilted. So I'm going to use this because I don't know where my non-stick mat is. It's in the craft room somewhere. So I will just use this so that I don't get don't get glue everywhere, and just flip the glue that's come to the front over to the back. So there we go. There's Chimmy's mouth. So we're just going to pop that there. As I said, it's only on a slight angle, like so. And to make the tongue, see how his little tongue sticks out there? I didn't have a 1/2 inch black circle. However, I did have the old itty bitty accents, I think they were, or itty bitty shapes, and it was a balloon, and I found that that was the perfect size to put the red part of his tongue on. So I'm just going to cover that in a bit of snail as well, and I'm going to pop that in the middle of the balloon at the bottom so that I've got an even edge around the bottom there. I'm going to trim that off just a little bit so that we've got the bit of tongue, and I'm just going to draw the black line down the centre of the tongue, like so, and then put a bit more snail on the back of the tongue. And then I've got tweezers here somewhere because this is not playing games with me. So if I stick that there, there's Chimmy's tongue. Okay, it looks a bit cuter than the last one did. Now I have to bring in my black cardstock and I have to punch out 2 little eyes. So I'm bringing an old whale of a punch back in and punching out 2 little eyes, and they will go there. Now I'm also going to use my balloon punch and punch out another black balloon and use my paper snips to just trim off the top of the balloon, and then, whoops, keep his photo in view, and then I'm just going to trim around the top of that to create the rounded nose. And we turn it upside down because Chimmy's nose is like that. And now I can actually see Chimmy there. In the other one I couldn't, and now my daughter's leaning over.
I approve.
Oh, there we go. She approves. Okay, so now I've just got to stick these down. Can you pass me the little glue thing over there? That one will do. Okay. So I've got my 2-way glue pen, thanks to Miss 14. So I'll put a little glue on that, and then we're going to flip his eye over to there, and do the same, whoops, with this one. She's still having a sniggering attack here behind me. And that one there. I'm trying to make sure that the eyes are fairly well centered to the edge of the mouth there. I don't want them to be off at all. Actually, can I move him over a bit? Yes, just a little bit. Because they're I've noticed on that they're closer to the edge of the, being even with the edge of the mouth. So there we go. There's Chimmy's eyes, and then we'll just put a bit of glue on his nose, and the nose points upwards. There we go. Bring that down just a smidge. No, what's going on with his nose? It's not looking right. Bear with me for a tick. That's a bit better. There we go. Okay, so there's Chimmy's nose and his eyes. Everything's in place. All I have to do now is peel off the dimensionals. And then I'm going to pop these just along the top there, like so. And that is Chimmy's Christmas. Oh, hang on, I've forgotten one thing. My daughter's off to the side pointing to the other card, going, no, no, Mum, you've forgotten this bit. And what I might do is just pop it down the side there.
Have a little line going so it looks like it's flapped over.
Oh, okay. Apparently I have to have a little line going so that it looks like it's flopped over.
Yeah.
So there we go. There's the little line indicating it's flopped over. Speaking of which, we'll flip it over and we'll trim off the side here, equal with the edge. Okay. Give this a press down. And the last bit of the card is using a piece of scrap Whisper White at 3 3/4. whoops, by 5 1/4. And I'm not going to write on it. I'm going to let Madam write whatever she wants on there, so I'm not actually going to stamp it. And we'll flip this open and pop that on, and I'm just going to smooth the edges out on the white, only because it doesn't matter what paper trimmer I use, I always seem to get a rough edge underneath from where it's been trimmed. Okay, so there we go. There's Chimmy. I'll show you once more what he was supposed to look like. That's what he was supposed to look like, and there's our rendition. I don't know that I think he's very good, but that is Courtney Rose's Christmas card. So happy Christmas, Courtney Rose, from our house to yours and from Kaylee to you. Okay, that's enough from me. Join me in the new year for some fantastic new cards. Not designer ones. I've got some really nice cards coming up. I've been doing a lot of sketching for new ideas, so join me in the new year and you can see some fabulous new cards coming out using some absolutely wonderful new sets from Stampin' Up. That's enough from me. Have a happy Christmas and have a safe and happy new year. Bye bye.